everyone, Stephanie here, coffee drinker, book lover, and reviewer of many things. And today I have a book review for you. I'm so excited. Well, kind of. I never put the spoon in the sink, so now this spoon is just going to be with me when I drink my coffee. The book that I am reviewing today is Dancing in the Streets, A History of Collective Joy. That's very important, by Barbara, however you say her name. Because, I don't know how to pronounce names. And I don't know how to pronounce some words either. Anyway, so this book was on the 2026 Adult Reading Challenge, or Reading Challenge for Adults. It's just gonna... It was book 4 on the list. And yeah, I got it read. Well, I started reading it in book form, and then I had to switch to audio form because this book is very educational and repetitive. In the beginning, at least. I guess it's kind of repetitive all the way through, but look, I had a mark where I stopped. I got to page 27 when I realized that this was not going to be a book that I can sit and read. I was trying to read it during my kids' gymnastics, and I was just like, what am I reading? What? Also, this is not something to listen to around kids, I don't believe. But we'll get to that in a minute. So this is the one I have, without the cover, because that's how I normally read books, so I don't mess up the cover. It's just plain. It's got some gold foiling. It's very pretty. Like, I was very, very excited to read this book, and then I started reading it, and I wasn't so excited. Okay. Love you too. Go finish some more of your work. My kid's doing her schoolwork. So I can either read the very long inside or the shorter outside that other people have said, and I think I'll read the inside because it's the thing that she put. Also, I want to say that I didn't actually buy this book. I got this book from a relative during Christmas one year. They knew that I was interested in dance and dance-related things because that's what I did in junior high and high school and some college. So they were like, "Here, you'll like this." And I did. If I like I said, it was educational. And I was not prepared for an educational book. Um, Let me get to the actual, because they're all like naming off her other books. Like, this person wrote this book and highly acclaimed for this book and all that stuff. So here she explores the opposite human inclination, one of the equally universal and deep rooted, yet has been so effectively suppressed that we lack even convenient phrase for it. The desire for collective joy, expressed throughout the ages in ecstatic celebrations of feasting, consuming, and dancing. Drawing on the wealth of history and anthropology, the author uncovers a deep origin of communal reverie, Reverie. I think is how you say it. In human biology and culture, although Europeans from the 16th century onward viewed mass festivities as foreign and savage, the author shows that they were, in fact, indigenous to the West. From the ancient Greeks' worship of Dionysus, which we'll talk about, to the medieval practices of Christianity as a danced religion. Ultimately, church officials succeeded in driving the festivities out of the churches and into the streets, where they became carnivals, followed by the same pattern of repression. Reformation Reformation Protestants criminalized carnivals. Muslims battled ecstatic sulfism. So I don't know how to say that word. Sorry. And Europeans colonizers wiped out native dance rituals. Elite fears that collective festivities would undermine social hierarchy were not entirely unjustified. The festive tradition inspired French revolutionary crowds and countless uprisings of slaves and colonized people from the Caribbean to West Africa to the American plains. Yet a tradition so deeply ingrained is not easily annihilated. The the author argues, pointing to recent outbreaks of group revelry from the rock and roll rebels of the 1950s and 60s to the carnivalization of sporting events in the 1980s and 90s. It's interesting. Okay, I enjoyed learning once I got past the, oh my goodness, this is like an educational book. Not one that I would have read in high school, by the way, because of all of the my kid is right behind me. Things that that word where two people come together. If you're an adult, you know what I mean. And then it was like someone was like, "Hey, how many different ways can you use that word, and how many times can you say that word?" In the beginning, like the first like 2 chapters, that's how it felt. I was like, "My kid is in the room. I don't have to explain that to her yet." Um. Anyway, on to my very lovely book journal. It has been getting some work, and I'm so excited. It's March 18th, and I'm doing good on my reading. I'm doing good. So I put it right here. It's the black book right there. I feel like I should have written the name in gold or something, but the gold doesn't turn up very well over colored pencil. So it is the 4th book on the reading challenge list. If you want to do this reading challenge with me, I have 3 challenges going on. I have my adult reading challenge, a preteen teen reading challenge, and a paper pie reading challenge. If you want to do any of those with me, I'll leave links for the Google Doc in the description, so you can just click on it and it should take you straight to Google Docs, and you can download it or print it out or whatever you want to do. I'll also leave ways for you to get the books, the adult books and the paper, or no, the adult books and the preteen teen books are all on one Amazon list. I went through and found them that way, and I was just like, "This will be easy. No one has to be like, oh, I don't wanna do this challenge because now I have to go find all the books." In case you wanna do that, I do get, um, some pennies if you buy a book off of the Amazon, and then if you do the paper pie challenge, you have to go to my paper pie website, and that I do get some money on whenever you, get books. I was trying to see, did I nope, I didn't add these to any other challenges. Okay. Let me just get over to the page. That's all you needed to do. So this is my journal page for Dancing in the Streets. I couldn't find a picture of the black cover. I like the black cover way more than I like the beige cover. Um, yeah. Anyway, so title. I have to lean for this. It's really difficult. Title: Dancing in the Street. Author: Barbara. I don't know how to say her last name. Look, I listened to YouTube, several different people trying to say her name, and they all had a little bit of a different myth or huh. And I'm like, I'm not going to risk it. I started this book February 15th, 2026, and I finished this book February 24th, 2026. Yeah, I read this one in February. I think I started it while I was sick because I had started it book form and I was still kind of like not here. But my kid was fine and we went to gymnastics. And I was like, I can't read this book. I can't focus on it. And I found it on Audible as one of the free whenever you have Audible books. Whenever you have the Audible subscription, it was free, and I was like, yes, thank you. So I listened to it. I gave it 3 stars. I gave it 3 stars. Uh, and for the spice, I gave it a 1 star because there is a joke, and I didn't write it down, so I don't know exactly the phrasing, but my kid ran off, so I can say this real fast. It was like talking about how just because you have a penis doesn't mean you have to have sex. I was like, I wonder if I could find it real fast. It was towards the end. You know what? I'll finish my video and then I'll look for it, and if I can find the quote, then I will record it and splice it in. Would I recommend this book? Maybe if you're someone who likes historical stuff, if you like educational books, then yeah, I definitely recommend you be more mature if you're gonna read this book. That being said, I should say, oh, this is an 18 and up book, but to be honest, I read stuff worse than that when I was a teenager. So look, if you're the parent, take a look at the book first and then decide if it's something you're okay with your kid reading. Like I said, it is more educational. I got a text message. It was just hair stuff. And it's an ad. Okay, genre historical anthropology is what it says when I look it up. To me, I feel like an anthropology is like a bunch of stories, like different stories in one book, but this was more like it was very cohesive. Like it kind of flowed from one topic to the next very well. And because I didn't know that it was a collective history, like a collective joy, um, sorry, the history of collective joy, I kind of got thrown off when we hit the rock and roll music section of the book. I was like, this has nothing to do with dance. This was 9 hours and 29 minutes long, or because I didn't write it down. Um, no, I don't want all of the extra notes. Okay, 261 pages, and it had 12. Technically, it says it has 11 chapters, but it has a chunky conclusion, which I count as a chapter. So 12 chapters. Other things by this author: Fear of Falling, Natural Causes, Had I Known, Bright-Sided, Nickeled and Dimed, Blood Rights, Bait and Switch, This Land is Their Land. There were no like real characters in this book, so I did not put a character down. I did not write the favorite quote down because I was listening to it, and at the time of listening to whenever that quote that I kind of tried to paraphrase, it's not how the quote went at all. I didn't have my journal with me. I think I was in the car. um, but my review is something like this. This book was very educational, though sometimes it felt just like we strayed away from the dance topic. Barbara a, tells us of a lot of a lot of religious crossovers, and I learned a lot about how it all started with the Greek gods. Dionysus. Look, if do you remember I read Percy Jackson? If you've been with me, I read Percy Jackson not too long ago. Last year? This year? When did I read Percy Jackson? It was last year, right? And I really enjoyed it. It was the first book, anyway, that's what I read. And I really enjoyed it, but I didn't really know all of the gods. Now that I have read this book, I understand a little bit more about Dionysus. Dionysus, however you say his name. Um, if you're a very big, like, Jesus is the only one, God is the only God, this is not a book for you. Because it talks about before that, and it does some crossover, like, it's gonna make you upset. I know there are some people out there that are like, oh my gosh, he's the only one, there's no other God. No, that's not, it's not true. Do your history homework, okay? Um, there are other gods out there before Jesus and God came about. There were others. And in this book, it talks about how it could be that when someone was like one group of people were trying to cast out another group of people, or they were trying to win them to their side, they made Jesus have very much similar properties to Dionysus. And I know that there are some people out there that will be upset about it. I thought it was brilliant. I was like, oh, yeah, I never thought of that. Yeah, that makes sense. Because every, like, 100 years or so, new gods come in, or a new religion would come in and try to take out the old religion that was in the area. It's what happened to the Native Americans. It's what happened in Ireland, because they were more pagan, if you will, or I don't think that's what they called it, but just to give you an idea, um, they used to be more magical, okay? No, I'm just kidding. They used to be more spiritual. Anyway, anyway, so she talks about that in the book. There's also some talk of politics in this book, and she talks about way back when it started. There's a chapter about witch doctors. There's a chapter about voodooist. Voodooist? I don't think it's voodooism. I think it's voodooist. There is talk about slavery in this book. There's talk about the rock and roll. There's talk about when people stopped being okay with dancing and even tapping your foot or nodding along to music. And so that is why, oh, there's something in my eye. that is why that is why the rock and roll music was such like a revolutionary thing, and I was like, oh well, now that makes a lot more sense. And in the book it talks about I can't remember who said it, but one of the rock and roll peoples was like, if the police weren't policing so hard, there wouldn't have been so much backlash from the young ladies and the young men in the rock concerts. Like, they wouldn't have tried to like storm the stages, and they wouldn't have like pushed the police officers away and stuff like that. Uh so that was very interesting. I was like, you know what? They're probably right. Because up until that point, a girl wasn't supposed to move very much. She was supposed to sit stationary or only get up to do the dishes and the laundry and make the dinner. Thank goodness I wasn't. I would have been burned at the stake. They would have been like, "Witch, you like to read." Um, you don't want to do the laundry. Um, okay, come sit down right here. I wrote, I'm not sure if I could recommend this book for everyone, but there was definitely some very interesting parts. But the beginning chapters felt like someone was like, here, how many times and ways can you use this word? Like I said earlier. I can't even spell it because my kid can sound things out. She just got right back behind me to do her schoolwork. Anyway, that is my thoughts on this book. It's an educational book. I don't know how else to talk about educational books because I'm not one of those people. Um yeah. Oh, um not you. Uh if you're sensitive to the the days in the like 30s, that when that happened, 20s, 30s, when those people tried to take over the world, with those symbols, and they were dividing people up into what religion they believe in and keeping people in camps. There's talk about that in this book. I almost forgot about that. I know that that's a sensitive topic, and It was a section that was harder to listen to. Um, I'm glad I decided to flip through this real fast. I'm not covering that topic with my kid until she's a little bit older. She's only 5, so I can't really, say that out loud. This was the book that I listened to with headphones. Anyway, I can't find that quote that I was like, "That was so funny." Um, but there are some sensitive topics. I'm not normally one that reads books about religion or politics, but because it was kind of intertwined with, oh, well, because these people came in and they took over the area, they forced this group of people that was here not to celebrate this and that, and so it was kind of interwoven with the history. And some of it, like I said, some of it was boring, but there was some very interesting points. And read it at your own risk if you like stuff. If you want to read this, if you want to learn more about a history of collective joy, um, that is all on you. My future videos, other than my Nancy Drew videos that we're still working through the game. I have read. What have I read? I've finally read Anxious People, so that video is coming up. And I read a spooky secret, The Spooky Secrets of Camp Midnight. That one's coming up. I am reading A Way of Shadows and Delirium. Um, I think A Way of Shadows might take me a while because there's a lot of point of views. So bear with me. I will read and listen to other things to try to get more videos in. And I finally ordered my paper pie videos, so some kid videos will be popping up soon. And there will be an unboxing of all of the books that I got for Pi Day. I'm so excited. I can't wait. Um, yeah. If you didn't know about the Pi Day sale, I am sorry. I did make a video about it, but I didn't know how to get it out there. I mean, like, hey, you have to watch this so you can get books for $3.14. The sale is over now, though, so you'll just have to live vicariously through me when I do the unboxing. Um, I've gotten a few more books, but I don't think I'm gonna make a video of them. I might tack it on to the Paper Pie unboxing series because I was kind of sad. I got a mystery bag of books and I can't read them because they're like the 4th and 6th book in a series, oh, and 10th book in the series, and I was like, "Why? Why would you do this to me?" Yeah. I don't have very much else to talk about. I will say, like this video if you like this video. Comment below. Have you read Dancing in the Streets? Is there another book about dance that I should read? I'm always into learning about dance. I thought this was going to be more like Fame. Um I was wrong. That's okay. It's alright to be wrong sometimes. Um, did you read this book? Did you like this book? Uh, it was educational, wasn't it? And subscribe. If you're not sure if you want to subscribe, you can find my face bubble. If it pops up, it's going to be down here somewhere. If you click it, it'll take you to my channel, and you can go check out my playlists I do or my videos. I do a lot of book reviews. I do a lot of kid book reviews. I got a kid, and I work for a book company that sells kid books, and I do random reviews from time to time. I haven't really found anything that I want to like. Oh, you have to see this. Lately things have just been kind of like, eh. Um, I have been working in my garden, and then we had a windstorm and the temperature dropped, and now all my leaves are not green anymore, and I'm kind of worried. Uh, and I had just moved my tomato seedlings have finally gotten this big. Too big for the light system that I have in my garage, and I moved them to my patio. Now they are just piles of dirt. It makes me wanna cry. Does anyone else ever have this problem? Just when, like, they were ready to be planted outside, and I was like, "Okay, I need to get them a little wind, I need to get them used to the outside," and, well, they're gone. So, um, it's okay, I got some more seeds to plant. Try again. Anyway, I just love tomatoes, and I love the smell of the leaves from the tomato plants. Anyway, that is totally off topic. Um, if you're interested in gardening videos, please let me know. I will see what I can do with that. Not really an interesting video, I don't think I could make. It would be like a short, I guess. Anyway. If the bubble doesn't pop up down here, you might have to click my video like you're gonna pause and then click on a coffee drinker's review, and it will take you to my channel so that you can check out my other videos. That is really, I don't have much more to talk about. Occasionally, if you go to the community center, the community tab on my page, I will post randomly in there and share this video because sharing is caring, and someone might want to know that this is not a fun book unless you are a historian. Okay, well, that's all I have to talk about. So I will see you on my next video. Bye.